So, one thing I think we should disclose first, before we even get into that video, is this is not going to be a session of us talking about Liz and the background of our friendship and who she is. So if you don't know who she is, if you don't know what the context of our friendship with her, you should go look at my YouTube. You should look at Chelsea Suarez's YouTube. Andrew Cormier, that's Elizabeth's ex-husband. He has a TikTok called Inventing Elizabeth, kind of like Inventing Anna. And then there's a podcast called Elizabeth with Cheryl and Dale and Cece Suarez as well. And they do a very good job of kind of outlining the background.
If you want Elizabeth's full story, definitely check out the Elizabeth podcast and then Andrew's Inventing Elizabeth page. We've been really quiet about this for a lot of reasons, which we will get into because they are legal reasons. But she decided to make a TikTok this past week, and she is alluding and saying that her ex-husband, Andrew, and all of her ex-best friends over the last few years.
And her family.
We all knew about the scheming and scamming and lying and stealing that she was doing, and we were accomplices, and it was part of a bigger plan.
She basically suggested that how could somebody be friends with somebody and know what they're doing every day and then know they don't have a job, yet they have all this money. They have to know, which is so crazy. But she's not specific. She does not say who it's about. She just is very general. And that's what actually kind of drove us to make this because, first of all, her video was deleted after 30 minutes.
Right. She totally wiped it from the internet, but Andrew and his due diligence and his amazing followers obviously screen grabbed it.
Regardless, internet is forever. I don't care if you scrub it instantly. The comments, the screenshots,
Especially,
I learned this the hard way.
Especially anything that she does. Everyone's going to save it immediately.
And I think she likes that.
But she was very quick to be in the comments saying, this is not about Rachel. Do not bring her name to my channel. But if it's not about Rachel, who is it about, Elizabeth?
Yeah, because I think it's interesting because, again, Liz has a very common pattern of just kind of speaking in generalities instead of being specific, which is very frustrating because, of course, her followers instantly go to the comments and they're like, who is this about? If this is about Rachel, because there was a suggestion that she used, someone used their career.
Their very well-off career.
Right.
And how many of her friends have substantial enough careers? I mean, there's a couple of of her ex-best friends, but
I think mine is the only one that she used in her scheme, which is fun. It's crazy because I'm like, the way that it came off, though, I'm not going to lie, it sent me into a downward spiral and mentally ruined the rest of my day.
But she's obviously talking about us. She blasted all of my ex-best friends.
And my family.
Which one of your best friends, honey? Because you go through about 50 every year.
So one of the comments, though, was like, is this about Rachel? Liz literally responded pretty quickly in all caps. This is not about Rachel. Keep her off my page. But the problem is, Liz is a pattern. She likes to keep things very general, so she doesn't have to be the person. Like, she has no accountability or responsibility.
That's her way of taking accountability without actually taking accountability because she doesn't put any specifics into it.
Exactly. She has clean hands because she's not pointing a finger at me. She wants everybody else in the comments to point the finger at me, so she's blameless.
Clean hands, but yet her whole video was admitting to all of the fraud and scamming that she did, but trying to put the blame on others. But if there was evidence and proof that others were involved, show it, honey.
And I mean, if I'm being honest, she didn't really take any sort of accountability. It was all like in this weird third person, but she wasn't good at that. Should we just play the video?
If your wife or your best friend didn't have a job and was living the most luxurious life, and you were accepting all of what came with it, the gifts, the trips, the concerts, the money, the boats, the clothes, if all of that was happening, and you knew, because you're with this person every day and you talk to them every day, that they weren't having a job, where did you think, and you know their family, so this isn't a stranger, you know everything about their life, where did you think they would be getting it from? And if you were helping spend it and doing all of it up until the person no longer had it anymore, was doing that anymore, having the money, and then, yeah, so did you not know about it, or were you in on it? Were you helping? But then you knew that she was never going to say anything out loud because that would also mean that she was telling herself. But then she accepted the consequences offline the right way, the way she's supposed to, not through the online public's opinion. And she actually told how much everyone else's involvement was and what they have done also. So then coming really soon, she gets to talk about it to the public. Would that mean that you were like secretly involved and knew about it? Or did you just pretend to not know that she was doing those things? Because like, I think that you as her best friends and you as her husband and you as her family, I think that you were all like smart, educated people, some in like really great careers, but you know, and then you'll do anything in your power to get her to shut up so that doesn't come out. I think that everyone doesn't understand this is much bigger than some random girl in Tampa, Florida. It's a group. And I think that one random girl has allowed everyone else to say it was only her. And it was her. It was her. A lot of it was her. But I think a lot of it was other people too. I think they knew about it. I think that they helped. They did a lot of things. They even used their careers to help. So yeah, I think there's a lot to come.
So what do you guys think? Or I feel like the question is, are we wrong for feeling like this could be about us? And are we wrong? Am I wrong for having feelings about it? Because it has a mental impact on me. And I know that she'll listen to this and she'll love hearing that. But that is the only mental impact that she has on me. And it's only because of what I anticipate could affect my life.
My other justification for it being about us is she has not come on social media to attack anybody else of her ex-best friends except for Rachel, myself, McKay.
You're right.
She has never gone
What about,
public about J, N, none of them.
C.
She's never said any of their names, but she continuously attacks us.
That is the reason that we decided to do this, because a lot of false narratives have been put out since all the legal side of things has started happening in October, and we have not said much on the internet because I've basically bullied Jordan into silence.
I don't have an arts bar that you can call and complain because I'm a bad artist, like the Florida bar does for Rachel. Elizabeth can attack and attack and attack, and she can only say something about me on social media like, oh my God, I told you something in secrecy as a friend, and you using that against me? Wow, you got me. Stop deflecting.
And the person in the room that has nothing to lose is the scariest. And that, unfortunately, is Liz. And she's made that very known. She wants to keep this cloud of possibilities so her followers continue along this narrative that she has created.
But that takes us back to how many times Liz has made part 1, part 2 series, and then she's like, here comes the third part with all of my receipts, and never drops it.
Well, I'll say this much. As of right now, as of when this podcast will be released, there is absolutely nothing that is pending anymore between Liz and myself.
So we are now able to talk about this because the legal bindings have
been removed.
Ended.
The handcuffs are off, baby.
And we're allowed to speak on it.
I will say, though, I am eager to see how quickly Liz comes back and makes something about me online now that she can, because she's been very quiet. I feel like people must have like a little bit of a notepad with their questions ready. So before Jordan asked me the first question that you guys are eagerly waiting for, I think that there's something very important to mention. The timeline of the situation is very important. October is when this finally got to the point where I could not do it anymore. It was either her or me, and I had to choose me. But unfortunately, a lot of my own actions kind of got me there, which is why people have questions, because I have not always made the best choices as it relates to Liz.
One of Rachel's faults is she's always going to be a good person and a friend, even if you're not a good person and a friend back to her. So back in September, Rachel decided to take it upon herself to be a nice person. She sent Liz some attorney contacts that could help her in her federal case. Can you please tell me and the audience why?
So I think it's important for people to understand that my career, in the first 10 years of my job, I worked for a law firm that we did criminal defense, but we also, within that bubble, we represented people that were being charged federally. So a lot of times what ends up happening, we would have people that would come in and do what's called a pre-file. So they would have found out through some means that either a witness had been contacted or their records had been obtained, and they were like, what's going on? So they would come in and hire my old law partner. He would basically use his contacts, and he would contact the U.S. Attorney's Office and say, what is going on? There has not been a grand jury yet, because you cannot be charged federally until an actual grand jury has been impaneled. So that's one of the things that I had taken into consideration, is you can literally reach out to the U.S. Attorney's Office, find out where they are in their investigation. You don't ever get off scot-free. This is the federal government we're talking about. They would stop their investigation, and in return, you would not have as much to be punished for, if that makes sense. But you do, actually. This is where it gets a little bit confusing. But it's important, though, because that was my other thought. I had 3 thoughts. The pretrial aspect of it, the restitution part for the victims, because I am an empath. I do care about the victims involved. I never classified myself as a victim until now, because I never had any financial losses until now. I have significant ones in my reputation. I thought if she could somehow find a way to make this resolve itself and come up with a plan to help the victims get money back while she can, it's better than when she's in prison because they'll never see that money.
Absolutely. And I want to pause there for a second. Rachel and I are victims of Elizabeth. You're a victim. You are a victim. We never wanted to be victims.
So the pre-file, I knew that was a possibility, and I knew that would benefit her, but I also knew that that could also, number two, help the victims with restitution. The third reason is a very selfish reason. I wanted this shit to be fucking over. I feel like the last 9 months of my life have been a living hell.
It's been a lot more detrimental to my sister because of her career.
People don't understand what it's like. It becomes so all-consuming, and this has impacted me in every facet of my life and my ability to practice law.
Can we talk about why it's affecting you so much more, though, other than just the social media aspect?
I think there's some part of me that always wishes that Liz would just actually be the person that she says sometimes and get better.
You just want to see the best in everyone, and you think that everyone can be better. And unfortunately, she is not one of those people that is capable of rehabilitation.
So I helped her get in touch with a couple of lawyers. And what's interesting, though, is at first she didn't actually hire the guy that I thought she was going to, but she told me that she did. And the only reason I know this is because I thought it was very weird. Like, she's like, oh my God, I already talked to him. I hired him. We have a meeting with the U.S. Attorney's Office and with the production company. And I was like, wow, that's actually so quick. Within a day, I contacted him. And he was like, Rachel, no, she didn't hire me. And instantly, my guard got up again. He told me that he had talked to somebody in the U.S. Attorney's Office. There was a deep investigation. They were only so far in, but the same advice I had given her was that get ahead of it, and they will stop going back in time, back to when your child was born and you started faking her cancer. Like, let them stop where they are. You're still going to have to do some time. You're going to have to pay restitution, but let's get ahead of it. So that was on a Thursday that I talked to him. I did not know that somehow in the next 5 days, Liz got this magic pot of money and hired him. No idea. Out of nowhere. Liz had just hired her new lawyer, and Liz was very confident, and she reached out to this person. Was like, I am so sorry, and basically convinced her that she was a good person and wanted her back on her side. And this disgrace
Condiment.
basically she leaked every secret detail that we had ever disclosed over the months of trauma discussions.
She used us in many ways to get back at Liz, to make herself more sustainable, to make her life easier, and to make her more popular amongst Andrew's followers.
She gave Liz the full access pass that she so desperately wanted. And Liz then took information and misconstrued it. She knew what really was the truth, but she put things in a different context that actually made us look like criminals ourselves. And we name dropped Chella because she deserves to have this redemption as well, because we did nothing wrong. And this disgrace of a human being has acknowledged this since. She came in very, very hot. This false narrative was dropped on a Tuesday night. I was at my old house. I got a text from Rachael and Jordan, and next thing I know, there's these videos that are being posted with these allegations that we have committed crimes and hacked emails and absolute bullshit. Liz thinks that she knows the law and asks the public to come and condemn me for knowing that somebody else had already done something wrong and then not doing something about it, which is funny because when I found out that she did something wrong, I did do something about it. She's a hypocrite.
But we are going to say this with our full chests. We were
With our
never
full fucking chest.
We were never in Elizabeth's emails.
We never knew while it was actively happening.
Never knew who hacked her Google accounts.
I said, if you want help when you get arrested, I have friends that can help you at AK Lawyers. There was this allegation that I was encouraging them because one of the texts was, again, taken out of context.
It was quite literally just a screenshot. You don't even know who actually had logged
know.
into the account. And all you said in reply was, whoever did that, don't do it again.
Oh, yeah. If you get arrested or charged with this activity, I have lawyer friends that could represent you. And she took that and she told the internet.
Jill, Jordan, Chella, and Condiment hacked my Gmail.
So the next morning I decided, fuck it. I'm going to go live and I'm going to do a tell-all. So that is where you can go to my YouTube because I posted the whole thing. I'm not going to defend myself or my actions because I take accountability, but that was a reactionary set of actions.
So let's go forward.
After my live, Liz posted another video. And it was disgusting. I actually wrote up my own cease and desist. This is when I first learned that she did have a lawyer for the federal stuff. And I will never forget because I sent her this letter. It was around 3 p.m. And I emailed it to her and I CC'd her lawyer. And she was like, don't include my lawyer. He's only my lawyer for the federal stuff, not for your bullshit, stupid stalking things and your fake bullshit TikTok. She said, politely kiss my ass. Politely kiss my ass. So the next day, I file a petition against her. I had to stop at a McDonald's to get it filed with a fucking online notary. And honestly, it was the first moment of relief that I felt until midnight. When I got the email that because there was no claim of violence, they were not going to grant me a temporary injunction against her.
Can you give the audience kind of a explanation of an injunction?
An injunction is basically you're asking the court to force somebody to stop doing something. So normally in a domestic violence, you'd think you're getting them to stop beating the shit out of you. Like they can't have contact with you. I was trying to get her to stop cyberstalking me. Cyberstalking in Florida is literally defined as like doing something with the only purpose of trying to cause that person mental harm and anguish.
Let me pause you right there. Don't you have in words from Elizabeth that she was never going to stop and everything that she was doing was to cause you pain and harm?
Andrew's the king of receipts. I'm the queen of receipts. I have a Dropbox with over 1,000 documents. But that's one of the reasons why I thought I had such a good case because she had told me in words, baby girl, I have all weekend to ruin your life. This is over months of time. So I filed a petition. It was set for a hearing at the end of October. I thought that she had been served, but she hadn't. So the next day
was October 10th.
The day before my birthday.
Not only was it Rachel's birthday weekend, she had her best friend, Kayla, in town. My mom was in town. They surprised her. And at the same time, Elizabeth was creating an entire smear campaign online.
You know, they say with like a narcissist, they always will find a way to ruin the biggest moments for you. Do you think that because it was my birthday had something to do with it? Like, that's some fucking planning.
Rachel, can I ask you a question? Does a bear shit in the woods?
The answer is yes. Jordan and I were out to lunch on the 10th. And I can't remember if it was from Chelsea or Liz, but somebody had planted a seed in Liz's brain that I had been involved with going on a spicy website. And I had been involved with getting her information and sending it to people. So she started demanding, threatening me. If I did not confess that you did this, or tell me who did, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to make sure that my lawyer goes forward with these false bar complaints. I found the message. Here it is. Ready? 2:21 p.m. This is what she says to me. You're working your way to a restraining order, not just your fucking license. You can lie all you want to the internet. I know you know. I just can't show your number, so on there your ass is saved. I don't know what that means. But it won't be like this in court, and I will not stop. No matter who you text, no matter what you post, I will make it my life's mission to pay for what you've done to me. You've made it yours to make me pay for what I've done, and I will have to do that, but so will you. Many months ago, I said stop. Weeks ago, I begged you to stop. You kept going and going. You are digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole every single day. Instead of ending it, you chose to make it 1,000,000 times worse. And you're a very smart girl. That was in caps. That's why I said it like that. Who let this take over her life. No one else has anything to lose. Not Jordan, not Sam, not Chella. Hell, not even Andrew. But you do, Rachel. And we both know that what I have done is completely separate from the things that you all did. You also know I have much, much more that you've done that has not been revealed. And this was only part 2. See? Part 1, 2, 3. I can take the hate, the rude comments, no one believing me. I can take that. I hope that you can as well by the time that all this is done and out. So, did you or did you not do this? Because if you didn't, I will gladly cancel our bar complaint, the false one that mine and my lawyer have put together. I will tell him that I gave him false information, and he can cancel it as well, or I can continue and go to the police today, which is what I'm going to do. I'm already aware of all the other shit that you're doing today, yesterday, etc., because every fucking person is now coming to tattle behind your back, and that's fine. I don't care what I care about. All I care about is who got into my email and who knew who got into my emails and who sent my OnlyFans stuff around. So did you or did you not? And do you have proof that those text messages that I got, along with everything else that I've got that you've done behind my back illegally, is fake? And if it's fake, I will stop right now. So this is your one chance to tell me if it's fake. We can gladly get on a call. I am driving home at this point. I go, Liz, I truly don't know what to say because I don't know what you're talking about. I've done nothing you have said. I, once again, have no idea what you're talking about.
So, what happened next when you got home?
I called the cops.
They came to your house and started an investigation.
Yeah. A law enforcement officer came to my house. I started talking to her, and this is kind of a funny moment. She was like, you know what's weird? I don't know who that girl is, but I've seen you on TikTok before. And I was like, T. Keep in mind, while the cop was at my house, Liz and Condiment Voldemort were on live together. And Liz kept trying to tell the world that we were guilty of this crime. And she kept coming in. She's like, actually, Rachael and Jordan never did anything illegal. And Liz would be like, well, Rachel's a lawyer and she knew better.
We never hacked your accounts.
There was never a single time that we knew about anything illegal that had happened.
And even when we found out that there were people in her stuff, we didn't know who it was when it had happened.
So yeah, the cops were there for about an hour, and she was like, I'm going to be honest, this is a very hard thing to prove, but I will give your information to the detective. And I just had to wait. I had to wait patiently.
Let's fast forward. What happened after your birthday and development with the detectives on the cyber stalking and harassment?
Cyber stalking is very hard to prove. It's a new phenomena. People don't think that this is serious, even though it is. I got a call from the detective the next week, and then I had multiple follow-ups with her. And I provided her with all the information that I had. A week before Thanksgiving, she actually called me and was like, we are actually sending this case to the state attorney's office with the recommendation that she is charged. I never expected that. And she goes, I'm going to be very honest with you. I have never thought that I'd be doing this because when I first talked to you, I knew how hard it would be. She was like, but I see the toll it's taken. So she's like, they can obviously choose not to charge her. Give them time. 3 weeks after that, I called the state attorney's office because I wanted to know what was going on. And they basically told me because I did not have proof that she had contacted me on 20 phone numbers, that they could not charge her with stalking. I asked the girl, I said, you know what's crazy? The detective knew exactly what I'm talking about. She knew that this was so important and significant that she wanted to waste y'all's time with this. Why are you not looking into this more? And you know what she said to me? We only have 2 videos. What are you talking about? She doesn't mention you by name.
The amount of videos we have saved with Elizabeth speaking directly about Rachel is over 20.
They have not given me the final decision as of now, but I have been told that it's probably no. But the fact that the detectives were willing to submit the case at all, people don't realize how actually significant that is. I had heard a rumor that Liz thought I was lying about that. I'm not lying.
I think we know you're not a liar. So you filed your petition, and we are now at the end of January. Where do you stand?
Well, I mentioned it earlier, like that's why we're making this podcast, is that the petition is no longer outstanding, from my understanding, because I did hire lawyers. As a lawyer, I feel like I have a responsibility to recognize when I'm not able to be as objective, and I was emotionally so fucked up. I called my mom one day and I was like, I need help with this. I cannot do this on my own. So my mom actually helped me with the initial retainer, and now I have personally spent over $10,000 on lawyers. And so it got to the point where I was like, I needed them to tell me point blank period, am I going to have a chance of winning this? Because I'm about to go to court in my town with my colleagues, with my friends, and show a video of me being in the worst point of my life, which people know is out there, but to actually have to acknowledge that and put that on the record somewhere, I need to know that I will win 100%. And they could not tell me that. What I am able to recognize, I think, as a lawyer and my job is I can read between the lines. I know how hard these cases are to win, and I did not want to take that chance and be further in debt because I know that she doesn't have the ability to ever pay me back for that.
Do you think there's like an aspect of her that milks this
Yes.
longer and drags it out?
Oh my God, yes. So there was a deposition that was set. So a deposition is like where you go and you give like testimony under oath. She didn't show up.
She didn't show.
She forgot. The only time she's ever taken accountability was I forgot. But so my lawyers were like, Rachel, at the end of the day, it's just not going to be worth it for your reputation, for your mental, your emotional health. And my therapist thought the same thing. My therapist was on board. She was like, this is for your mental health. Get rid of it. You made your point. This is not a truth. This is your narrative. You are making a choice, and I made the choice.
This is in no way a truce. This is just Rachel is not going to keep putting out thousands of dollars to run this so Elizabeth can milk her dry, exhaust her the longer that we draw this out. And we are not going to be silent any longer.
So I will say, though, she would be a little bit silly to make a video about me at this point because there is still one thing that is outstanding that is, in my opinion, actually is the worst. Which is why I made Jordan save this for last because I'm trying not to cry.
So not only has Elizabeth brought Rachel's reputation to social media, she has taken it a step further and filed complaints with the Florida bar and asked her followers online to follow in her footsteps and physically gave them the contact to call the Florida bar. What has transpired for you since that?
So the Florida bar, I have all the respect, and it's a very serious entity. They police us, right? They are our supervisors. And the Florida bar makes it very clear that if you're going to make a complaint about someone, you only make it with the intentions that it gets them in trouble. It's not to get your money back. I have dealt with dozens of bar complaints. My clients have nothing but time. I have had lawsuits, and Liz was aware of this.
Are bar complaints normally only filed by clients? It's abnormal for strangers of Liz's followers on TikTok to file complaints about you.
Yep. But I will say Liz had a little bit of background knowledge because when I got back from the Bahamas, I had to hire a lawyer for $20,000. I had to self-report myself. That was a bar complaint. The day that I got the approval that it was dismissed, they agreed that I was acting in self-defense. I was on the phone with Liz when I found that out. And she cried with me and knew how traumatizing that had been for me. But I had no idea at the time until Halloween that Liz had actually filed a bar complaint against me based on these lies. And the timing is really funny because the day I sent her that cease and desist and she told me to politely kiss her ass, later that same day she had sent her bar complaint. I didn't get to Halloween, but I thought it would just go away because I think that people know about Liz, but apparently if you're not chronically online, you have no idea what this is about. And what happens with a bar complaint is they have an initial stage where if it's like something that they don't handle, they'll dismiss it, but they only know what they see. So imagine that you see what Liz has said, all out of context, and I thought that it would be dismissed eventually. Liz had the chance to respond. She didn't. To her, it's all a joke. She has nothing to lose. And then about right after Thanksgiving, I got the letter that it was not being dismissed. It was being sent to Tampa to be further investigated, which now is more time away from... It's a very time-consuming thing. Yeah. I actually really crashed out when I first found out that they were going to investigate it further because I didn't understand. And then my lawyers at the time were like, you have to understand. Look at it. They only see what's on the face of this document. If you didn't know anything about her, would you understand more? And I said, I do understand. That makes more sense, right? Like if I only saw what this says, this would be questionable conduct and questionable behavior. So I do believe that eventually this will go away. But the problem is that in the meantime, this just makes me more in debt to Liz. I'm literally in debt to a person who has no money, no moral compass, nothing, because now I have to pay a lawyer to possibly represent me eventually for things that are lies. This is my job. This is my actual career, something that she's never had.
That's why she doesn't care, because she doesn't know what it's like to actually have a meaningful career. Rachel was found innocent and a victim of her Bahamas arrest by the Florida bar. I want everyone to know that what Liz wanted to paint such a villain about Rachel, the Florida bar, which Elizabeth made a complaint to about Rachel, they found her a victim and completely innocent.
That's one of her many videos that she's made. I've never in my life told a different story because there's no other story.
I was there. I was there. I know what happened. She does not. What is going to happen with that?
I don't know. And, it's interesting because one of the things that we had considered when I was going to get rid of the petition, the domestic violence thing, was other people, whether or not they had actually submitted complaints as well. And there were other people
From her following.
from her following. I cannot prove it. And that's what's so difficult about all of this. It's why criminal charges could not be brought or haven't been brought, because I can't prove that her 47 phone numbers are her. They're not linked to her. It's a Google voice number. So now I have to just wait and hope for the best. Hope that somebody sees the actual truth. And I swear, if I could just lay this all out to them, I will give them the binder. I would hope that somebody would be smart enough to recognize what's going on. I told somebody last week that she's going to take my career from me. It's my biggest fear is that somebody will accuse me of a crime or accuse me of something that I did not do and I can't prove otherwise, and that's what she's doing.
Is there a chance if she is in prison after being arrested by like the FBI, could the bar complaints go away? Like, is that something that could happen in the legal system?
I got sick because if this is still outstanding by that time, I will not be a lawyer anymore. I will walk away. That is how serious this is for my mental health. What people don't know is that I have met RP, the person that Liz used my identity to scam. I have met him. Jordan has met him. But one day he asked me, where everything was at in my legal career, because he also knows that she used my identity. And I straight up told him through tears, I said, she is going to literally take away the one thing that I have worked so hard for. And there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. Because if you choose to believe her...
I want you to breathe for a minute, because I want you to be stronger when you say this. You are a boss-ass bitch, and you're not going to let her fucking take you down. You kidding, Rachel? I want her to quit being an attorney and be a wedding planner with me so bad, but she worked too hard for this, and we're not going to let a loser... Elizabeth is a loser.
She's not lying, Lizzie. She's loser, Lizzie. She knows that the Florida bar is so ethically leaning, as they should be. We have a moral compass that we have to hold true, and I've always held true to that. That's why I try to stay so honest, because I always want to be as candid as possible. But she now knows my biggest fear, and she's using it to her advantage in another way. She's trying to say, fuck the court system. I'm going to actually get you out of the court system in a worse situation where, how do you prove something that didn't happen?
If she gets you out of Florida law, you should go to Indiana and help Chris #1 fight for Chance.
Well, I guess I will. I guess I will literally take the bar exam again. Like, if it comes down to it, I will always choose my mental health at this point, and my career has obviously already kind of made that an issue. I will not let her win in that respect. I will back down before I let her win in that regard. That's what I meant by, like, she'll take my career. She won't take it with her own hands. I will not allow this lying person that was once a friend. It sucks, but I hope she hears this and has maybe a small percentage of empathy, what I thought she had, which she probably won't, but I hope she does, because maybe she'll actually just leave me the fuck alone.
She's incapable of empathy.
She sought me out because of my platform, and then used my lack of platform to her advantage. And tried to make us look like we were involved with her fuck-ass scams. Girl, we would never. Sorry. Never. We don't need to. We got that money, honey.
I have better things to do than scam old men.
Yeah.
I don't even like men.
She don't. And you thought you were doing something by trying to expose her past shit? Girl, she don't like dudes. I'm sorry, no more crying for me. It's just, people don't get it. It takes up so much time and mental space, and I already have my own mental health issues.
I mean, she's gonna make more TikToks.
Probably.
The flow chart. Elizabeth has a cycle that she follows. So Chelsea made a lovely diagram and shared it on her YouTube channel the other day.
I look crazy.
About... Anyways, go to Chelsea Suarez's YouTube to check this out. It also might be posted on her TikTok, but it is Elizabeth's cycle that she does. Basically online, it's like she
Called out, exposed. Crash out, lies, blames others, disappears from social media, scams behind the scenes / in person, returns to social media because she's confident enough. Then mental health, simple life, good mom era on social media, baddie. New group of friends, love interest, roommate, because she has to have people that support her story for the new love interest. And then thirst trap, messy era on social media, calling out everybody else for her own fucking actions. So we're there.
We're at the call out. She's got her extensions and her eyelashes on and her baddie, and now she's getting ready to call us out. And she's going to call us out because this podcast is going to drop and we're going to be the next things to talk about. Because let's be real, Andrew doesn't stop talking about her, which I love. It takes someone like Andrew to keep this fire burning because she's actively scamming.
People like Andrew, people like Chelsea, like they are important to this story because they spread the awareness. And we have chosen to stay out of that until now.
Chelsea and Andrew are never going to stop talking, and we only stayed silent for a little bit. This is us talking about it on the podcast.
We needed to answer the questions that people had. We needed the closure for ourselves. And if and when the day comes or she comes at me, you bet your ass I will be making a video in response because that is something that I am entitled to do as someone who has now not only been a victim mentally as a friend, but as financially, socially, publicly, and professionally.
We won't keep bringing it back on this channel, though.
So yeah, anyway. Hey, Jordan. I will say one thing. I feel bad for people who don't have siblings. I can't imagine trying to kill my siblings off in my story because my sibling is the only reason I'm above ground. If I'm being honest, she's the only person that I could communicate with and talk to about this while it was happening because she's the only one that understood how I felt.
Even at times, because Elizabeth would pit against each other. Like, she would alienate us and tell us separate stories.
Yep.
And
Which I will say is why her video is so ironic because you make an allegation that we knew what you were doing. We didn't even know what each other knew until it was too late. You would wear fake scrubs, bro. Jordan would see you out at lunch with people with fake scrubs on.
even your live-in roommate thought you were going to work. I know for a fact that none of us were on your schemes.
Oh yeah, let's put this on the record. The minute I did know something had happened, I went to the police. Just like if I knew that there was an active situation going on with these other people, I would have gone to the police.
The minute we found out that she neglected her dogs, that she
Her
left her
kid?
son alone for 2 weeks alone, we went to the authorities and did the proper things to handle the situation.
Because
we cared about her children. We cared about her dogs. We cared about her.
she just never cared about us.
And we're not going to go down as her accomplices.
Guess what, Liz? This is the actual definition of purge after listening, because now we've purged, and now you're fucking done to us. We're done. That's a wrap, baby girl. Turn down for what? Not for you.
I wish I could purge Elizabeth out of my life forever.
Thank you guys for being here. This was a little bit of an emotional one, but I think it was necessary.
It was
I feel
emotional.
cleansed. I want to get hypnotized. I hope you guys learned something that you wanted to know. If you have other questions, let us know. We'll collect a database, and then eventually, maybe, but probably not, we might address them. But otherwise, Liz, I hope you have the day you deserve. I hope your pillow is so warm and stinky. I hope you stub your toe barefoot. I hope that you look like shit with those eyelashes